For nearly a century, the border between Canada and the United States wasn't just a line on a map. It was the world's most successful economic integration experiment. But in 2025, the special relationship didn't just hit a speed bump, it hit a wall. Under the second Trump administration, the introduction of a sweeping 35% tariff regime has effectively ended deep North American integration. From softwood lumber to automotive parts, the gears of the world's largest trading partnership have ground to a halt. But Ottawa isn't just waiting for the storm to pass. A radical new Canadian foreign policy strategy is emerging. From Trump-proofing European security to carving out a path of moral independence in the Middle East, Canada is doing something it hasn't done in generations. It's moving out of Washington's shadow. 1. Economic insulation. For many decades, the mantra in Ottawa was integration. Today, it's insulation. When the 35% tariffs were announced, they didn't just tax goods. They shattered supply chains. In response, Canada has pivoted toward aggressive economic protectionism. We are seeing a Fortress Canada approach using massive domestic subsidies, and by Canadian mandates, to shield core industries like steel, aluminum, and energy. This isn't just a trade war. It's a structural divorce. Prime Minister Mark Carney's government has signaled that the reliance on the U.S. market is now a strategic liability. By doubling down on industrial policy, Canada is attempting to build a self-sustaining domestic loop, even if it means higher costs for consumers in the short term. The goal is simple: make Canada too resilient to be bullied by the next executive order. 2. Multilateral hedging and the financial weapon. If the economic front is about insulation, the security front is about hedging. Canada's military capacity has long been a point of criticism, but Ottawa has found a different kind of ammunition: financial tools. Recognizing that its hardware inventory is limited, Canada is using loan guarantees to maintain its seat at the table of European security. Recently, Prime Minister Carney announced $2.5 billion in new aid for Ukraine, not just in shells, but in financial guarantees that unlock billions more from the IMF and World Bank. This is Trump-proofing in action. By aligning closely with the EU and NATO partners, Canada is ensuring that even if the U.S. withdraws its support after 2025, the framework for Ukrainian survival and European stability remains intact. Canada is effectively buying its way into a leadership role that its military alone couldn't sustain. 3. Moral independence. Perhaps the most surprising shift is in the Middle East. For years, Canada's policy was largely a mirror of Washington's. No longer, a new doctrine of moral independence has taken hold. Ottawa is now prioritizing international law and humanitarian concerns, often taking distinct positions on the conflict in Palestine and climate change that put it at odds with the Trump administration. This isn't just about ethics, it's about branding. By strengthening ties with the Global South and the EU on human rights, Canada is positioning itself as the moral conscience of the West. It's a risky gamble. Washington views this as a lack of loyalty. But for Canada, it's a necessary step to preserve global credibility and maintain domestic cohesion in a country with a deeply diverse population. 4. The Indo-Pacific strain. The Indo-Pacific strategy is currently under extreme strain. Canada is caught in a vice between a confrontational U.S. stance toward China and its own unresolved diplomatic tensions with India, while the U.S. wants a Trump corollary to the Monroe Doctrine, viewing the entire hemisphere as a resource base for American needs. Canada is trying to find a middle path. Can Canada trade with Beijing while keeping Washington happy? Can it fix its relationship with New Delhi while asserting its own sovereignty? In 2026, the Indo-Pacific will be the ultimate test of whether Canada's independent strategy is actually sustainable. 5. What to watch next? The special relationship as we knew it is effectively over. The coming months will be defined by one pivotal event: this week's meeting between President Trump and President Zelensky. If the U.S. officially withdraws support for Ukraine, Canada will face a choice. Does it empty its own limited military stores to fill the gap, or does it pivot to a peace broker role alongside France and Germany, moving from a silent partner to a primary negotiator on the world stage? One thing is certain: Canada is no longer just the quiet, beautiful, and nice country in the north. It is becoming a middle power with a mind and a strategy of its own. Thanks for watching. If you like our content, please like, share, and subscribe. For more on the changing landscape of global trade, check out our deep dive on the new EU-Canada partnership.